And we're back. A short break, but I hope you had the time to stretch your legs and grab a cup of coffee. We're moving to the next segment of our show here. We'll be looking into leadership, and we have actually a question for all of you out there. It's again a mentee poll that we will be conducting, and I'm sending you the link to this new poll over here. Because now that we have been talking so much about leadership, are there any leaders out there that you admire and you follow?
So, Sadia, are we going to do this poll or maybe different one?
This one for Vikas Malik's talk, or preparation for Vikas Malik's talk.
Okay.
I'm seeing MS Dhoni, Lord Krishna, Leena Nair, and Ratan Tata. I'm believing that's from Tata, the Tata conglomerate. Yeah. Barack Obama, and of course, Elon Musk. Jacinda. Again, Ratan Tata is popular. Brene Brown. Anand Mahindra. Thank you for this. And I'm seeing that I was supposed to share another poll with you, so give me just a minute. Now we have an idea of the leaders that you follow. The next question is actually, are leaders born or made? Just gonna copy a link and send it to you in the chat. So all those amazing leaders that you mentioned before, do you think they were made or were they born this way? And Suvalina, your mom is a leader that you admire. Yes. Let's see what you think about the leaders. Are they made or born? And the majority of you think they're made. And of course, don't pay too much attention to this, with none of the options being correct. There's no right or wrong answer here. This is just how Menti set the poll up. Great. Now, the next speaker is actually Vikas Malik, and he will be tapping into this that we just saw, how are leaders made. Vikas Malik is an organizational transformation expert. If I have to condense his expertise. Currently, he is heading the operations transformations division of NatWest Markets, and he has been delivering technology solutions across different industries and organizations. He has many years of experience of setting teams up and being able to lead them to delivering awesome products and services that create a business impact. Yes, Vikas, are you here in the studio with us?
Yes, I am.
He's here.
You can see me?
Yes, now I can. Hello.
The physical hand or digital hand, whatever you want, I can pick that. Okay, so should I start? Ready to go?
Please go ahead,
Okay.
sir.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Sadia. Thanks for the introduction and brilliant sessions from Anand. I still remember the three gods, which I'm going to now start thinking and practicing. And then last session was also very interesting around authenticity. And I think it has made my job easier. Very stepping stones for the session has already been laid out by the last two sessions. And the poll, why we did it, because I just want to, first of all, ensure that I declare that, for this session, one has to accept and understand that leaders can be made. It is not just born. So I come from that camp where I firmly believe that leaders can be made, right? And I'm going to share some of my real life stories, my experience. And in terms of stories, I don't have any presentation to share with all of you, but I will ensure that you will carry some of the stories with you, my real life examples, what I have observed around me. So some basic steps before we proceed. Is leadership a skill or a role? And I'm not going to ask you to go to another poll, but I'll tell you. So both. The answer is both. Leadership as skills. Some of the most important skills that people will call out are empathy, ability to inspire, courage, honesty, authenticity, all of these, right? So these are the most famous skills that everybody will call out. And if we have these leadership skills, whatever role we perform, whatever we are doing, whatever job we are doing, we will be successful in that. That is a guarantee. Now, coming to leadership role, there are some leadership roles where these skills matter more. For example, if you have to build strategy, if you have to lay down the path for people to walk, build teams, run organizations, departments, lead a team, captain of a cricket team, run a business. So without leadership skills, we are going to struggle. We are going to struggle a lot, right? So when we have done these polls before, or when I have asked people, or even I have attended any leadership session in past, and I have attended so many of those, most of the leadership skills, as I called out, empathy, ability to inspire, courage, honesty, trust, all of these soft skills are noticed or called out. One which is most prominent and always missed out is professional knowledge and competence. And that is what will be the topic today. But why it matters? That is the question. Why professional knowledge and competence matters and should be considered as a leadership skill. So I'll start with the, one story. Around 15 years ago, I joined a bank, and that was my first experience in a bank. No background in banking. And I joined there as a team lead, technical lead, was supposed to lead a team of programmers. And the platform was for the derivatives, and derivatives is the most complex product in banking. And within derivatives, the most complex product is options, currency options. And that team was given to me without any background. I used to go into the meetings with traders, And I'll be very honest, I struggled for 1 year. I couldn't contribute, couldn't comprehend what those people are talking about, what they meant with their, trading jargon that they were talking about. And I was really ashamed of what, and where I have come and what I'm able to contribute. So another recent example, that is like a couple of months ago, I was renovating my flat, and now I have a builder friend. I gave this work to him. I said, come and help me do this work. And then, some of his workers, contractors, they were working in the apartment, and I used to go there and review every day that things are going as per expectation. One evening I was there and I found there is something wrong. The contractor and the labor who was putting up the counter in kitchen, so there was some issue with that. And as a layman, who is not expert of construction, I could figure out that the strength of that counter is being compromised. Now, the key question came to my mind, that should I raise it? Should I ask my friend? And I immediately then called him and asked him that, can you please look into this matter? Because I feel that later on this will be compromised and it will not be stable. And this guy, the mason, the contractor, they were standing there, they were listening to my discussion. Now, my friend who is a builder, he has another partner, and that partner is very, very sound, technically very sound. He's known as expert, and that day I found that the person is really sound technically. And my friend who was close to me, he is very close to people. So he is quite fond of his team, and he commands a great respect from his team. So if he call his team even at the midnight, they will come and stand and do the work for him. The other guy is technically competent. So they were listening to my call to my friend, and when I'm asking him to come, now the contractor and the mason after the call said, "Sir, you have done the wrong thing." I said, "Why?" "I should have called your boss, right? And he should come and tell us what is the solution to this." He said, "But you should have called other person, the other boss, who is the right person to solve this problem. We don't want that boss to come and solve this problem for us, because he will not be able to solve." Right. So with that, I will reflect or refer to what Amit mentioned on LinkedIn. So our people who report to us, who work with us, they know what we know, right? So they are very clear. And I'm able to relate to that incident where even the laborers and this contractor, they knew that two of their bosses, which one is technically competent and which one will be able to come and help them come out of this situation. So I was really amazed that even at this level, they are very clear. Look at our jobs. So for example, I'm heading a technology department. And if I start calling out, or I start using jargons from technology world, which I don't know, my team will be able to figure it out. And I can't really fake it. Okay. So then what happens when we lack the professional knowledge or professional competence? Why it matters? Why it is a leadership skill? Because it impacts all other attributes of leadership. We will not be able to make a judgment without professional competence. Our ability to trust people will be impacted, because we'll not be able to understand what people are talking about and whether they are right, they are wrong, whether estimates they are giving to us, they are right or wrong, whether the complexity of the issue or the problem that they are in, what they are stating, whether that is correct or not, will not be able to trust them. Now, the most important thing which is impacted by lack of professional knowledge is our ability to take decisions. Why we are not able to take decisions? Because we lack confidence and we have fear of failures. So fear of failure stops us from taking any decisions, and professional knowledge provides us the depth of the subject and it directly feeds to our confidence. Once I am technically competent, once I know what is going on in my job, and how I have to take the decision, it becomes very, very clear to me. For example, in technology world, I hope some of you are from technology world, and you'll be able to relate to it. I'm part of many go no go decisions, especially when it comes to releases, and I see a lot of people in those meetings. They are mute spectators, and there are only very few who will contribute with their knowledge, with the risk that we are carrying. They'll be able to make their point, and there'll be other people who will be just noting down and filling up the forms. So this is my experience, that if you are going into a meeting and if you are not able to contribute to a decision, what is stopping you? Because we don't have thoughts, because we don't have that knowledge, because we don't have that depth. So this is how I think it impacts our ability to lead the teams, our ability to establish ourselves as a good leader. Now let's talk about the how part. So this is why it is important, right? So I touched upon some of the points why I feel a professional competence is really, really important. Now, how it is, how part, right? How we can achieve it, how it can be, made easy. Now, the starting question that came to my mind, that if I bring a leader or an army officer and ask that person to lead a technology team, will that person be successful or not? Similarly, if I put a technology project manager who is successful in their current job and ask them to lead troops in army, will that person be successful? Yes, they can be successful, in my opinion, only by acquiring the right professional knowledge required for that job, right? So how do we acquire professional knowledge? So there is only one way, only one mantra, that is hard way, that is working hard. So irony, the irony of the situation is, once we get into a position which is which gives us power, which gives us strength, or we are in a top position, we stop learning, and we think that we pretend that we know everything. Maybe we know or we don't know, but at least we pretend that we know everything. I have seen some of the head of departments leading data science and innovation teams, and I bet they have not read any book on AI and machine learning, right? They have not gone through or revised their concept of stats. I bet it, right? And it is visible, it is known to people. Now, let's take example of some elite doctors, because this is one example when I was thinking I came across. There are some very elite doctors who throughout their life, they study, they attend seminars, they do research, they write articles, they continuously strive to upgrade their knowledge. And there are so many of them, on the other hand, who still treat everything with combiflin. Combiflin, people who don't know, is a mixture of paracetamol and brufen, right? So on the other hand, there are people who will continuously try to achieve new heights and gain new knowledge, gain new insights. Another example, I asked one army commander recently. He is my cousin, and he told me that he's going on a course. I asked him, why you guys keep on going on courses throughout your life, even if you become, colonel, general, and get to a very senior position, still you guys go on courses? What kind of courses are these? So my cousin told me that this time I'm going on a course to upgrade my skills on weapons. So he said that when I passed out from army college, I was trained on some very, outdated weapon. But if tomorrow war happens, or I'm, asked to fight, or I have to fight alongside with my troops, and believe me, that is required. That is required in army, right? You have to fight alongside with your troops. And if you don't know how to, handle that weapon, how will you fight? So you are asked to go into courses to upgrade your skills. And that is a technical skill in their domain, right? So this is how people attain, this is how people acquire the professional knowledge and keep themselves up to date. And this is how they are professionally competent. Now, another insight I will like to give you is that as a leader, we all say that our presence has to be felt. So wherever we are, in a meeting, in a discussion, our presence has to be felt, which means we will have to contribute something, right? Which we have to say, we have to show our experience, we have to, share insights in those discussions. On top of it, I am telling you that your absence should also matter, and it should matter more than your presence. And without professional competence, the absence will not matter. Your presence will matter with all other skills, with empathy, with courage and everything. But your absence will not matter if you don't have professional competence. So if you're not in a meeting where you can't contribute, if you're not in a not at a point where your team needs help to take some decision, they'll not miss you. Maybe someone else will contribute to it. So what happens when we get professional confidence? We get more involved in matters, more action happens, we go through more success and failures, and we come out stronger, right? So last thing which I would like to say before closing, I'm not going further into how to find out what are those competencies, what are relevant competencies for a particular role, because that requires another half an hour and Sanjay will not allow me for that. So last thing what I'll tell you, and that is my favorite one, in every discussion I have with my team, with my known people, I always tell them that practice it. Until unless you practice it, it will remain a concept. It will remain a theory. So, my wife, whenever she's unwell, she will say, okay, if you have to go to doctor. So we go to doctor will prescribe some medicines. We bring the medicines back, and those medicines, we have a huge backlog of those medicines. They stay in the bedside table, right? So that will not cure you. So putting a book on the bedside table or putting the medicines on the bedside table and not taking will not help. So we all will have to ensure that whatever we are learning, whatever we are going through, we have to practice it. If we think that professional competence matters and we are able to identify what those skills are, bring it in the practice. And now coming to, I will refer to what Anand said, to-do list and not to-do list. So pick whatever competencies are relevant for you, right? So pick those competencies which will make a difference and which are higher in priority, and ensure that you add maybe few of them to your kitty. Maybe few of them require just a refresher, right? So I'll refer back to the first statement which I made, that I struggled for entire year. I was not able to understand what traders were saying, but after a year, I just refreshed my stats, what a standard deviation is, how to extrapolate, what interpolation is, and that is what matters in when we calculate the risk and pricing model for the options. So after reading and refreshing those things, I was able to contribute hugely to all the meetings. Until date, the team is successful once we started following those simple things. So that's it from my end. And if there are any questions and if time permits, we can take those. Thank you for listening.
Vikas. Thank you so much for your, again, a very inspiring talk. I could really relate to the whole notion about practice, and you have books on your bedside table or you have shelves full of books, but a lot of us don't really manage to read all those books that we have. So again, something that hits quite close. We have room for 4 questions, and I can see that Monica Daya, you have your hand up. Please go ahead.
Hi. Hello, everyone, and great talk. There were so many real life examples which you shared, which were so easy to relate to. So, thank you for sharing those. I do have a question though about you said, Vikas, primarily about how your absence should be more important than your presence. But with that mindset, don't you think you are making the team dependent on you, wherein I don't know. So I'm just sharing what I feel. I feel like make yourself just as a outsider sitting there and pitch in only when your team really needs you. That way you empower them and even you create a space for yourself to go higher. Otherwise, as a leader, even you will be stuck there because if you are needed all the time, how will you grow yourself to something else or higher heights?
I agree. I agree. And you're absolutely right. And I was expecting this question because it is a little confusing. So when I say that your absence should matter in the work that you are doing, where you are engaged with your team. So once you have enabled your team for success, right, you are out of it. You'll do something else. But wherever you are, right, wherever you are, so along the journey of making your team successful and self-sustainable, in that journey, your absence should matter, right? Once you have made them or enabled them for success and they are self-sustainable, the engine is running, the train is running on its own, you will go and do something else. But whatever you are doing, there your presence and absence will matter and has to matter. There are some people, who say, okay, I have enabled my team. I will, I have made them successful. They are doing their stuff. Now let me relax. No, right? You are doing something else. And there you have to achieve new heights, right? There you have to make a difference.
Thank you, Monica, for asking that question on absence and presence. Really something that we all think about. Thank you so much. Any other questions? Pradeep, please go ahead.
Hi, Vikas. Happy to hear about your professional competence attribute. So initially you said leaders are made to. So very simple question. Is there any age limit for that?
Yes, there is age limit, and that's the problem, right? And that age limit comes from inside. So as we grow, as we attain some position of power or some positions, and I have met our ambition, we stop learning. So if we continue to learn, if we continue to identify those skills, so there is no there is no age limit. If you think that you have achieved everything, then definitely that age limit is there, and that will come from you only.
Thank you, Pradeep, for asking that question. It seems like there is hope for us if we acknowledge that there are certain skill sets that we need to practice and learn. So, yeah.
And just to add on this, what Vikas is saying over here, I personally believe that yes, certainly there is an age limit, and the age limit is that when you stop thinking that you can't be a leader, that is the limit. That should come from your heart. If you think you can, let it be, no matter when 80 years or 90 years or maybe 100 years. The day you stop thinking I can't be, that's your limit.
Thank you, Amit, for that. Shilpi, you have your hand up. Please go ahead.
Thanks, Adya, and thanks for the wonderful session. And I have my question, like you had very motivational thought that leaders can be made. So it's not that they are inborn, but what is the recipe of a leader? One thing I got that definitely the professional skills, but what is the other ingredients for a perfect recipe to be a leader?
I think there are a lot of leaders in this session and people can tell enough. It is a big list. It is a big list. Yeah, I called out some of them. Personally, if you ask me in the sequence of priority, professional competence, ability to take decision, then fairness, courage, and action-oriented approach, right? So these are the key ones coming to my mind. But yes, then trust, and there are so many things that you can add, and all those are on softer side. The only harder side is the professional competence.
Thank you.
Again, a very relevant question, Shilpi. Thank you so much for that. We have room for another question. Who's sitting back and burning with a question to ask? I see Suvalina. Please go ahead.
Hi, Vikas. Just wanted to check, like you said that professional competence. I think, okay, studies, university studies, book reading can, I think, help. But do you also agree that maybe if somebody is placed on the job and they learn it on the job a hard way, that is also a way of learning and gaining expertise in profession?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And let me give you one example, and I'll pick education industry. So there are a lot of teachers. We all might have seen teachers, and there might be some in our circle as well. So you can choose to stay as a teacher throughout your life. You know, same syllabus. Sometimes it will change. Let's pick maths or English or economics. And you can retire from school or college wherever you are a teacher. So that is one limit that you have put, that okay, I know the subject, I'm expert, I can teach, I can create good students who will take this knowledge from me. Other way is within education, can you take it forward? So you are gaining experience, you are teaching, you can refine your ways of teaching. That is one part of it. But can you think a little bit hard? Can you think of child psychology, learning methods, how how we can make a difference in the ways of teaching, how you can influence the government policies, the way subjects are taught or ways syllabus is designed? You can take it to that level, and you can take it to maybe next level. There are some teachers who start they start writing books. They start going to some of the seminars and start talking about the stuff they know. So yes, you can gain experience while you're working, but you will have to then stretch yourself to take that knowledge to next level. And that is a continuous process.
Thank you to Suvalina for that question. It's all about practicing, going out there and venturing in the world. So thank you. Our final question is from Sunil, our very final question. We have to move on to our next speaker. So Sunil, you get to wrap it up. Please go ahead. Sunil, we can't hear you. Oh.
Is it audible now?
Yes, perfect.
Yeah. Hi, Vikas. Thanks for sharing the pragmatic aspect of the competence and professionalism. So I have one simple question, like you said that the professional competence. So when you entered the banking domain around 1.5 decade back, and you initially faced challenge for a year or so. So after gaining that professional competence, after working hard for a year or so, what were the changes in you felt prior to when you entered into the banking domain?
So let me repeat and try to understand what you said. So you are asking that after 1 year, when I learned the domain and
Yes.
started understanding,
Yeah.
so what was the difference?
Yeah.
Okay, so the difference was simple. First of all, I was able to lead my team properly. Earlier, we were dependent on some of the people in UK team who were close to traders, who used to sit with them, and they had worked with them since many years. So those were the experts. We were dependent on them, and the entire team was dependent on them. If they were not there, there were only a couple of those folks. If they were not there, we had to cancel the meetings. So we were slow, we were dependent, and then I was not able to lead my team properly. We were not able to come up with our own thoughts. for example, just see people doing product owner training without understanding what product they are talking about, what product they want to lead. So similarly, I was into that domain. Without understanding, I was not able to innovate, contribute, or even lead my team confidently.
Yeah. So it's the
Thank you.
backbone up to certain extent. It's
Sorry,
the
I missed it.
backbone. Professional competence is the backbone.
Oh,
Up to certain
yeah.
That's a
Thank you.
great way to like wrap up this session. It's all about having the mindset to go out and train and practice, learn practice the skill sets so you can get even more leadership skills. Thank you so much, Vikas Malik.